Good morning. It is Thursday, the 28th of May. Just finished up my first meal there. It's now 9:10, so a bit of a late start, but I'm not mad with that at all. Anything to push the meals out, but did my fasted cardio this morning, went out for a coffee, a few check-ins, and now just gonna meal prep my meals for the day. So starting off with my veg, I always have green beans, just simplest veg I eat, and there's no point me changing them. And I eat 225 grams of veg a day, so I'll have like 75 grams for each meal. So weigh that out, and some days, there's like periods of like a few days where I just don't have veg for some reason, where I just forget to buy it, and I'm like, oh, fuck it. But now I just want to properly just keep it. I'm consistent enough with veg, like genuinely, but like there's just like every now and then I just forget to make it. But definitely a little mini goal for me now, just for the remainder of prep, just to keep having the veg on for the next, just to keep everything a bit more regimented and be as continuous as I can as prep goes deeper in. So there you go, just like that, boiled. There you go, that's basically veg done. That's all I have to do. And now I did a pose lesson yesterday and got a lot of good tips on that, and obviously I'm doing chicken shots tomorrow as well, so probably use a bit of those cues for that as well, because I felt I could see the flaws, especially with like my back shots and even my side shots, to be honest, like my side chest and front lat spread. That's a big one. So got a good lot of tips on that. So exciting times, 14 and a half weeks out. Shit! Jeez, I'm nearly halfway into prep. It's fucking crazy, man. Halfway there. Yeah. The easy part. I'm only in that easy stage. So time will tell. And now I'm just making my rice there for the day. So I have two. Since they're both even numbers, it makes it easier to split up. But there you go, yeah, so weigh it out 160. Then you actually clean it, like drain the starch out of your rice first, because believe it or not, there's actually a lot of people that just eat their rice without cleaning it. And for me, I find that mad. Same with like potatoes and stuff, because I'll show you now how like groggy the water looks. This water, look at that, looks like fucking milk. So drain the starch out of your rice first, then you boil it. The ratio for rice, for me, I always put 1.5 times the amount. So that was 160 grams. So I'll put 240 mils of water. Because usually, especially with rice cooker, you have to kind of make the water a bit accurate compared to like if you're just boiling it on the pan, on the pot, because it'll get too like sticky or clumpy, or it'll get too like slimy almost. So you need to like make sure the ratio is perfect. Lovely stuff. And lastly there, just gonna do I have my chicken breast. Hopefully I have enough chicken. Also, right, fuckers in Australia with the chicken breast, you're not fucking slick, alright? Coles, Woolworths, fucking Aldi, you're not slick. I see that they put fucking pads on the chicken breast to weigh it out as the equal. So for example, like this box I bought, this is a kilo of chicken breast, and it actually isn't a kilo. It's fucking like 800 and something grams, because they fucking add this into it. That counts as the weight. So you're not actually buying a kilo of chicken breast, you're buying like 800. Fucking, you think you're slick? You think you're fucking slick? No, there's been times I've been fucked over with that, eating less chicken, because I've been doing that. Rat bastards. They don't do that with mince though, but just with chicken breast. I've noticed they've done that. So this is also why you buy out of a butcher and not from fucking packs, because they just scam you. But anyway, I've got my that's my chicken there all for the day. I'm just gonna cook that, and then that's us there. There you go. So food is basically done there now. And I forgot to mention, right, this morning, so my prep low was 78.8. That was last time I ever filmed. This morning, 79.4. It's 0.6 up from my lowest. It's pretty mad. And I think that's like a bit of inflammation from like doing cardio every day. But my steps is a bit more controlled now. I'm not doing too high steps. I'm just getting like that 11 to 12,000. So I don't know, it could just be that. Digestion maybe stalling, I don't know really. But I'm not worried about it too much because I feel more conditioned, because I did check in yesterday. And like obviously I can see new detail coming through. And I'm at the period now where we're starting to see a bit more condition come into play every check-in, week by week, instead of like kind of like analysing the whole process from like when I first started to where I'm at now. You can, since I'm a bit leaner now, the body parts will just be shown a lot more prominently and quicker because there's less body fat. So that just makes things more exciting, to be honest. Okay, so I think I won't say confidently, but I do feel like I am back on track, like how I was like 21, 22 weeks out. And does that me say like my stressors outside of prep and bodybuilding isn't there anymore? It still is, but it's like my perspective has changed, and how I have to approach certain parts of my life at the moment is kind of a bit changed, and like my approach to it, and it's definitely just made me a lot more calmer. And around that same time where I calmed down a bit, training's been a bit better, digestion's been better, and you know, like well-being has been a bit better as well. So it could just be one of the factors why I'm feeling too up to par. But I think with the training side of things, that's also just because I've took a good amount of adequate, correct rest and recovery. So let's get back into it. And I was watching a podcast there as well, and something that I have the same, and also it's because for prep, right, how I approached it is that I am prepared for the absolute worst. Like in my mind, even though it wasn't going to happen, but in my mind, I thought when I was like 14 weeks out, I'd be eating like 1900 calories doing an hour cardio. That's how I fully believed in my mind that I was going to be doing that. So anything that isn't that feels easy. And what I'm doing right now feels fucking easy. And that's just how I'm just been approaching week by week by week. And I'm still having a type of thought when I could potentially, when I'm be like 8 weeks out, 6 weeks out. So that's a little thing to keep noted. Food, because I had oats there. It's person in the house was dumped the oats. She thought it was fucking expired. She thought it was her old oats. And no, she fucked it out. She just bought that oats yesterday. So a full fucking kilo box just fucked out in the bin. But is what it is. Something I want to point out, when you're on a routine like this, sometimes you just have to do it anywhere. Like right now, I'm just finished up my meal 3 outside a train station waiting for the train. So once you bring a meal with you at all times, then you're golden. So as the main lads always say, never leave your house without a fucking meal, because it works in your favour so much, and it isn't going to look too appealing or appetizing at some areas, but if it does a job, it does a job, and it just saves you so much stress. And being organised like this keeps you adherent. That's how I'm able to stay consistent and adherent to my diet and everything like that, is because you just have to keep yourself organised and take a bit of time to just preparate how you're going to structure your day. That could be with training as well, not just with food. Well, so I'm going to just give a breakdown of all of exercise today for push, and I'll just put all of it on the side here and just do like a walkthrough and a few of the cues I like to implement. So for my first movement I have is my line cuff raises, and so far, like for the last while, that's been my favorite for shoulders, and I've been doing that literally for the last 40 odd weeks, and yeah, I really love this exercise. And a few cues is kind of planting your whole body into the bench, keeps your back a lot more stable and kind of isolates your shoulders a little bit more, and you kind of like trusting less with low back and just using more like shoulders. And instead of like raising, just think about keeping your arms as straight as you can and dragging like your pinkies, your thumbs straight out. And you don't even have to necessarily think about how high to go. Just think about spreading your hand out as far as you can. And then once you kind of drag your hand back down, kind of imagine like you're reverse shrugging your shoulders. So once you see how, you notice at the very end of like the rep, I kind of like pull my shoulders down a little forward towards my feet. It kind of gives that extra bit of tension on the shoulders, and then you kind of go from there and just keep that shoulder in that same area. So try not to let your shoulder go too high or too low, just keep it in the same point. And obviously just keeping your chest tall as well. Then moving on to my Smith incline, and unfortunately the 2 plates is gone now. I can't hit 2 plates for much reps anymore, and like I've been trying, even with training feeling a lot better now, but I'll just be burying myself too hard and I won't really get the same as stimulus as I did in the past. So I'm dropping it down. 10 kilo is what it is, but really good set, cracking set. And something I was awful with training for so long with like pressing is just how I always used to press like this. See, I always have my shoulders, even though when people say always have your elbows like this, but my shoulders are always up like this. I had to more kind of push my shoulders down here, and then imagine bringing your bicep towards your pec instead of just bringing your fist and bicep in front of you. Just imagine you're bringing your bicep to squish into your pec instead of just going like this. Imagine you going like this almost, even though you can't technically do it because you're pressing, it's not a fly, but kind of mimicking that makes so much more tension on your chest. And obviously when instead of bringing my shoulders down, it isolates my pec so much more, because every time I did this, I felt it too much on my shoulders. So that was something I got hammered in from form clips when I got sent over to my coach, and that was like the main cue to sort out. And main thing as well, making sure once again your full lower back is planted onto the bench. Don't be arching too much. You can be removing a bit of the upper pec stimuli. If you're kind of arching too much, it'll just be like regular mid chest. So did 2 sets of that, dropped it down another 10 kilo, and felt very good. And then moving on to chest press on the plate loaded, and as I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned today. Probably I completely forgot. But volume is a little bit down now. So this was originally 3 sets, 8 to 10, and then next one was like 10 to 12 for the remaining 2. It's now down to just 2 sets now. So every single, this is same with all the movements I've done with 3 sets, it's now down to 2. So this one felt very good. And same type of cues again with the press. Not having my shoulders too high, and just imagine bringing that pec into the chest. And main thing as well with my pressing, not even just with pressing, even just with my pulling, especially when pulling actually, to be honest, focusing more on the contraction and the eccentric, because I was kind of pushing, I wasn't giving much oomph, more power into my pushes or pulls. I was always just too focused on the fucking stretch too much and feeling it on the eccentric, instead of just kind of locking in hard and not giving myself too much time in between the reps to like stop, then go down, press, wait a few seconds, go down. No, just literally keep the tension as soon as I finish the concentric. And that's just been drilling my pec. You can literally see my chest just doing the work in these sets, and really happy with those. And strength still coming up on those. I haven't dropped weight. I didn't need to drop weight on that on the plate loaded, so very chuffed with that. And then this is quite a questionable angle, but there was people all the Star Masters and everything walk around, so I wasn't just gonna film them and everything. But yeah, pec, fly. Kind of contradicting myself, my shoulders were a little bit too high in this, to be honest, but I felt really good. And it was actually good to kind of do this angle, because it gave me a bit of feedback to kind of change my form a bit on this. But yeah, a little thing is, well, people always tend to like crunch like this instead of going like here. You want to bend your elbows coming out instead of straight out. Do the opposite. You have to like slightly bend the elbow, come out the ends, and then drag your bicep into it. And you don't even want to imagine your fist hitting, because people always kind of make sure to like they touch. I don't even imagine doing that. I literally just imagine doing this, and my hands don't even touch at all. And once again, make sure your seat isn't too low either, because it'll just be too much shoulder joint tension, and also not too high where you'll just be isolating your arms too much, especially like your bicep. And yeah, 2 sets of those as well. And then we move on to just standard tricep push down with the, I think that's the long rope, yeah. And not much cues to point out. All I have to say is, imagine people kind of do like the push downs with the shoulders like this and doing this. You want to kind of imagine like you push your shoulders back, and instead of bringing your hands towards you, think about bringing your hands towards like your toes, and then kind of squeeze it back. But squeeze back once your arms are already locked out, not when you're coming down. And it'll just create a lot more tension on your tricep, and just be less on your joints. And once again, that was 3 sets actually, sorry, yeah, that was 3 sets of triceps. Felt very good. And then last one, which is actually recently introduced into prep, and it's awkward as fuck to set up, but it feels really fucking good, really good. It's just the easy, it's not easy bar, it's kind of an easy, I don't know what kind of bar this is called, but overhead extension with the cable, and it just feels magnificent. The tension I get on my tricep, nothing beats it. I always try to make sure I have like a more like a lengthened partial isolation for my bicep and triceps. So obviously for this is my more like lengthened on the long head of my extension. And then if I'm doing like lengthened for bicep, I use like a D handle, like Bayesian curl almost. And I did 2 sets of those. I used to do 3 sets literally last week, but now that's dropped down to 2 as well. And so that was 10 to 12, 12 to 15. And once again, planting your ass, lower back into the bench nice, and keeping yourself nice and stable. And keeping your elbows in that exact same movement. You don't want your elbows to move back. You don't want your elbows to be too flared out. Keep it as far inwards as you can. And a little thing as well, if you try make sure the cable is quite close to you, because if you're sitting too far forward, you're kind of not really putting too much tricep stimuli as much if you put yourself a bit more closer towards the cable sack, because gravity from the cable is pulling you down harder instead of kind of going like diagonal shape. So the more narrow it's coming down, the better. Overall, that was a very good session, and yeah, I absolutely love push days, as you should, obviously, because what else would you not like to train? Bit of chest. But this will keep the same for the next good while. So that's me there now. I'm going to have my meal 4, and anything else I should touch up on, I will let you know. There won't be nothing too much. This video might be a lot more much shorter. It's just like to break down what I do for push day really, and because it's not about me showing you all what I'm eating or how I'm feeling every single week, so it's just redundant. But yeah, that's us there.